They're 59-49. They're 2.5 games out of first. They're leading the wild card. What is happening? What was that yesterday?
They got lucky.
No, you know what today's first sentence is. I've already heard it 12 times. Mark, it's not sustainable. It's the exact same sentence we heard in August 2 years ago. It's not sustainable.
Well, I think about July of this year. Their offense was non-existent.
Correct.
Their offense was Cameron Fry in Ferris Bueller. Fry. He was absent, and they went 12-13. So they didn't score runs, yet they won almost half their games. And I think yesterday is a perfect example of why this S is sustainable, because you won yesterday based on a couple of at-bats and a couple of catchers with cannons.
Well, they got their fourth run yesterday. I saw this from Sluss. Did you see? Do you know what their record is when they score 4 runs?
I would guess it's probably like 30-12, something like that.
Hang on, I'm going to see. I want to get this number exactly right.
Okay.
I think I remember what it was, but let me see if I can scroll through her Twitter and tell you exactly. Yep, here it is. When the Giants score 4 runs or more, that's not a lot of runs. That's below average for a winning baseball team. An average baseball scores 5-3.
4 or more.
When they score 4 runs or more, the Giants this year are 50-13. Wow.
I had 30-12. That's even better.
50-13. That's bananas.
I'm looking at the log right now. One of those is a 16-11 loss to the Padres, which that's a weird one.
That was in Mexico.
Oh,
that was
yeah,
when the
good
ball
call.
was flying all over the place
Good
like
call.
crazy. Yeah.
16-11, you lost. Other than that, you lost with 6 runs a couple of times. You lost with 5, only 4 or 5 times. The rest of it are losses where you only got the 4.
That means they're 9-36 when they don't.
Yeah, score 4 runs.
So that's your key. Score the 4th run. You win almost all your games when they score 4. They lose almost all their games when they don't. Score the 4th run. 4 score. That ought to be their new motto. Forget this, not like it, or whatever the hell they're
No one likes us. No. Is what I think the Spanish translation is.
Nobody like us.
Nadie como nosotros.
Thank you, Grandy. You're always there for us when we need it.
That was one of the funniest 10 minutes of the show this year, by far. I almost lost it when that happened. Oh, my God. Oh, but yeah, 4 score. That's the new motto for the Giants. You win when you get 4 runs, which you could look at.
And that was Lamont Wade, right, last night with the laser.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't quite late yet, so it was midnight Lamont. Yeah.
Well, with this new pace of play, it's never late night Lamont anymore.
That's a good point. You can't do it anymore.
That thing ended before 9 o'clock.
It was pretty close.
Yeah.
Actually, I think I let the little guy stay up until the end, and it was about 5 minutes after 9.
2 hours and 22. So, yeah, it started at 6:45 on the dot, so 9:07.
Yeah, and that was only because they had to make it's time for a pitching change in the middle of the 9th inning because Corbin Carroll was coming up, and they said, bring me the Annihilator. And they did, and they won the baseball game.
Walker was running out of gas. That's what he said in his post game. And I watched his post game on NBC Sports Bay Area, and that's when I texted the group because the guy is just, the way he just lays it out, the way he's communicating with the media, it just feels like he's very much in command with his own process. And I think
totally.
I think he communicates to the team,
Agreed,
whether they like it or not. And he goes out and he gets Ryan Walker after 2 1/3, and it's okay. You don't have Doval, you don't have one of the Rodgerses.
I don't think they had either of them.
You don't have anybody.
They had no Rodgers.
And you look in the bullpen, it's like, they got the guy with the hair who shampoos every 5th day.
we got one of our starters. I think Logan Webb was offering. No, that was to start if Alex Cobb couldn't go. No, I think this roster, this clubhouse, you mentioned the word elite. I think that's what's elite. I think that they've got an elite vibe. I think they get along at an elite level. I think that they've got heart at an elite level. They've got all those things. And also at an elite level, to the point I think you're making, Gabe Kapler and Farhan Zaidi have a process. They don't care what you think about it. They think it works. They've got a lot of data that suggests they're right. They are going to stick with it no matter how popular and unpopular it is. And by the way, I love that about a human. I don't care if they're running my baseball team, being my radio partner, be my significant other, my kid, my friend, whatever. If you know who you are and what you do and stick to it no matter what a wonderful thing to do in life. But it's change. They're different. They're different than what the previous regime did. And by the way, they're not alone. This idea that the Giants are the poster team for laptops and iPads, they're not. The Dodgers are every bit of this and actually were before the Giants because that's where Farhan was.
And the Rays.
Doing it there.
Yeah, no doubt.
This is baseball now, and if you aren't doing it, you're going to fall behind. So that's all this is to me. It's just change. It represents change. And so when something changes, you're right there to point out all of its flaws, but you don't want to admit all of the things that work.
And that's the nature of all these conversations we're having in terms of, the 49ers and this quarterback thing with the 4 QBs, and you're giving QB4 all these reps. That's a change from what the norm is. And you look at the Giants and how often they're using the opener, and you can't help but look at the stats when they do use an opener. You have to tip the cap and say, okay, it works when you use an opener, so why wouldn't you use it more? And that's where Sean Manaea, and he joined us earlier, he's explaining his feelings, and yet I know that he realizes he's pitched better since he's gone to the pen, and Stripling has pitched better, and the team is 10 games above 500, so you can only complain if you want to complain so much.
Yeah, I wonder. Let's talk about a potential playoff series. What if they do use an opener?
What if they use 2 openers?
What if they pre-assign all 9 innings to 9 different pitchers?
Right?
I mean, is that so sacrilege?
Not if it works. So it's Webb and Cobb. And let's say Logan gets touched up and Cobb dominates, or vice versa, and you split the first 2.
1-1.
And I guess if you're the wild card, you would have to play 3 games on the road, right?
Correct.
Although 2 teams get a bye.
That's 1 and 2 seed.
And then 3 plays 6, 4 would host 5. So if you're the top wild card, you would host the other wild card. You would host the second wild card.
I think you're right. Yes.
So it doesn't even matter where the games are, but you split the first 2, and then game 3, it's, the ghost of John Brebbia, or do you go?
No, it would be Ryan Walker right now.
Yeah.
Or might it be Kyle Harrison?
It could be Alexander.
That's another thing I would argue. Now, he never pitched before in the big, so I don't know what he's going to do. However, I'll also tell you that young guys coming up for a short period of time have a big advantage because the hitters have never seen them before. So I don't know if Kyle can hit the strike zone consistently.
Right.
But we've long thought this. There's a reason that they're going to get him on the roster before September because it makes him playoff eligible. The Giants lost a World Series to the Angels because Frankie Rodriguez came up as a closer halfway through the year and nobody could hit him. You could not hit the guy. And he was unbelievable in that playoff run for the Angels in 2002. So what if the Giants looked at this and said, all right, well, Verlander, he's going to the Astros. He conducted that. Erod won't leave the East Coast. Scherzer is 80 years old. We're not interested. And he probably wouldn't waive his no trade here either. I don't even know about that. All the other starters available, from the Flahertys to the Lorenzens, all of these
the Montgomerys,
all of these 4.5 ERA guys that people are salivating over.
Yeah.
What if they went, I got an idea. We could keep our farm system intact, and why don't we make that person Kyle Harrison? Because he's actually got better stuff than all those guys. He's inexperienced.
Right.
And it could go sideways, but acquiring one of them could too.
But he's basically a glorified opener plus with as much as he pitches. He hasn't pitched more than 5 innings ever as a pro at AAA or above. So even if you went to start him, he would be like an opener plus.
But part of that is because they don't want to blow him out early in the year.
Right.
There is every bit the belief that if it got to the playoffs, if he pitches August and September in the bigs and gets to the playoffs and they love it, could he throw 90 to 100 in a game? Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, if he hits the strike zone more, that'll get you 6 or 7 innings.
True.
I don't think that's so crazy. May not work, but I don't think it's crazy.